Hi guys, how are you? Because today the debate is talking about euthanasia, 即係安樂死嘅辯論。Because this is a life and death matters of life and death class, so this is one of the practical issues. There are many practical issues, that we should talk about in the matter of life and death. For example, death penalty, war. Animal rights and all these things, but I'm sorry we cannot cover everything. And abortion, I used to teach about abortion also, but I'm sorry because this semester we're doing also service and practical, a lot of practical issues, so we cannot cover everything. But at least today we shall be talking about euthanasia, the debates on euthanasia, and we shall be talking about the end of life care. Maybe in the world in Hong Kong. So I just like to share with you, how's the situation. I think it's very meaningful. And also because we will be facing the elderly also, right? We're talking with him and with the other elderly. We also will be facing this kind of situation because we also will have end of life situation because everybody's life on earth is limited, right? Some of us have 10 years or 30 years or 20 years or 50 years to live, or 60 years, 80 years to live. But all of us will face that one day. We will die one day, and our family will die one day. Your husband or your wife, your girlfriend, boyfriend will die one day. So we all have to eventually, I hope you guys can go into it and try to think about it in your situation. Like for example, for maybe the age of for Miss Hong and I, we are older. We're facing so many relatives and maybe elderly, 即係我哋啲長輩啊, grandma, grandpa, eventually to face this kind of end of life situation. May I ask any of your grandparents already gone through this? 有冇人啲爺爺嫲嫲、公公婆婆已經係經歷過死亡㗎啦? Any of your grandparents? Some, already passed away, right? Yes, your grandparents or great grandparents. Yeah, so many of you. So maybe you already have the experience of witnessing how your parents deal with this kind of situation. Maybe they stay in the hospital or they lived at home and they passed away. I like you guys, we can think about it, 即係代入去。We think about it, it's not only debates, it's not only practical or academic debates, but it's life and death situation, is real cases and real situation. Okay, so today the arrangement is like this. So I will quickly want to give you some videos to watch. I will show you two videos. It's very nice. It's Hong Kong local case. They are not elderly people, but I think that their health condition is worth, because after we talk about some live example, then it will help us to think about the debates. So we do not just debate for the sake of debate. We do not just think about things literally or academically, but we see people as real people, live people. Okay, so I will show you some videos. Okay.
都我根本上以前都唔知咩嘅事咯，都咁個醫生都同我講過，嗰種病咧又話遺傳性，一代接咗一代。
小腦萎縮症又叫做脊髓小腦運動失調症，係罕見疾病嘅一種。全球嘅罕見疾病有6000至到8000種。由於呢一啲病嘅患病率極低，患病人數極少，響事事講求成本效益嘅觀念之下，投入罕見疾病科研、藥物開發，以至到治療工作嘅專業人士少之又少。呢啲病至今依然無藥可醫。醫學界慣常叫呢一類病係罕見病或者係孤兒病。任何一個人，如果佢嘅父親或者母親擁有同一種罕見疾病嘅顯性致病基因，又或者其中一方有家族遺傳病史，佢就有一半機會遺傳到有關嘅罕見病。病發時間多數響20至到40歲。病發之前，鄭挺健係貨車司機，當時係2002年。27歲，佢新婚啱啱滿1年。
去踩單車，咁就發現佢一停車就跌，一停車就跌。 咁跟住就去睇骨科。咁骨科個 doctor 就話你咁嘅情況就應該唔似係骨有事，咁就直接寫咗紙佢去照腦科咯。咁磁力共振先至真係照到出嚟，發現佢係個小腦有事，真係喊咗出嚟之外，都其實啱啱仲要結咗婚冇耐，咁聽到嗰陣時都幾大打擊㗎。
到咗嗰刻，鄭挺健先知道一直臥病在床嘅爸爸所患嘅就係自己身上嘅小腦萎縮症。病發後嘅3個月，佢企圖自殺。
我做自殺就上飛鵝山買一包炭㗎啦。我諗住喺車路識得咁啊，呢段就算咯。咁又再我睇一睇，你打電話俾我。佢問我喺邊，我話我喺飛鵝山。我嗰陣我係見到我係喊同佢講，我係好唔捨得佢咯，因為我見到我爸爸咧都係咁咧，我自己都頂唔住，撐唔到落去咯。咁我睇同佢講句話，我都梗係記得㗎。佢話人哋都未放棄你又要何必咁早放棄咗自己咧？
打消自殺念頭之後，鄭挺健身心都出現咗好大嘅變化。
我應該好難受，因為我做嘅嘢係比要比正常人要用力多3倍嚟嘅先做到，就好似過馬路咁都過唔到嘅。
除咗攞政府每個月俾鄭挺健3700蚊嘅傷殘津貼金之外，鄭家嘅生活費就靠鄭太獨力支撐。佢哋生活拮據嘅時候，曾經諗過申請綜援。
因為我同佢結咗婚，我有收入，所以唔得。一係就要我同佢離婚。
而家嘅鄭家響經濟上已經走出低谷，但係鄭挺健嘅身體狀況就每況愈下。作為照顧者嘅鄭太並唔輕鬆。
我覺得最辛苦嘅可能係嗰種無力感，做唔到任何嘢幫佢，而我又需要返工。政府係對於我哋呢啲照顧者係作唔到任何嘅幫助。
面對將來，鄭太表示佢唔敢有任何奢望，反而鄭挺健依然有一個夢想。
我小胃出病用病可以醫啊！
患上罕見疾病唔單止為患者帶嚟壓力，亦都令成個家庭甚至世世代代嘅人陷入困境。要幫助罕見疾病嘅病人同埋照顧佢哋嘅人徹底擺脫呢種苦難，請立即捐款到香港中文大學，支援佢哋嘅罕見疾病基因研究科研工作。
Very not easy this case, but I like to show you another one because why? They are in different stages. There are many this kind of rare disease or disability. There are many, but these are just some of the example. I like to show you another case because this one is maybe he still can talk, he still can walk. I mean, like mobility is still there. But there's another case. I'd like to show you the other case, just so that it also helps us our thinking and helps our academic debate later. So I let you guys think about it. And also just now, Mr. Cheng just now he talked about wanting to commit suicide, right? And try to commit suicide. And this is what we discussed about last lesson also. So I let you guys to think about that. Okay, so I will show you this one. Sorry.
陳思慧患上嘅係罕見疾病之中遺傳性小腦萎縮症，發病嘅時候佢正係花樣年華，17歲。起初佢父母對呢一個病一無所知，仲以為佢患嘅係長短腳。當佢去到醫院檢驗，經過驗血、基因測試，最後確診先知道自己患嘅係小腦萎縮症嘅第3型。思慧嘅病係遺傳自佢爸爸，
都係行路 平衡唔到咯。咁同埋講嘢亦都係開始又係唔清晰咯嚇。咁啲手腳亦都係啲肌肉好緊咯嚇。但係佢哋個情況係冇思維咁嚴重。
遺傳性嘅小腦退化症咧，佢嗰個嘅嚴重程度同埋係佢乜嘢年紀發病咧，同佢個基因有關係嘅。即使譬如我同你都有第三型嘅小腦萎縮症咁樣啦，好可能你條基因嘅突變長啲咧，咁你嘅情況就會提早發病，甚至乎咧個病徵咧會比較嚴重嘅。
小腦萎縮症響醫學上嘅學名叫做脊髓小腦運動失調症，患者嘅小腦、腦幹同埋脊髓都出現咗退化性萎縮嘅現象，影響所及，佢哋嘅病徵都係同肢體協調有關。早期佢哋會行路唔穩陣，中期會條脷打晒棘，睇嘢會出現重影，晚期仲會講嘢唔清晰，要靠輪椅代步。特點係佢哋嘅智力完全冇問題，頭腦清醒，但係就喪失咗溝通同埋活動能力。
而家佢點樣去表達佢情緒？永遠都係用喊嚟表，只可以用喊嚟表達佢嘅情緒，用喊嚟表達佢嘅需求。佢完全係做唔到任何嘢。
響身體日漸衰弱嘅情況之下，陳思慧需要人24小時貼身照顧。
佢係好需要人哋去令佢嘅身體去移動，等佢舒服。甚至佢而家會有抽筋，你要不斷同佢按摩嚇，同埋夜晚都可能要食一啲嘅止痛藥去減輕佢痛楚。佢完全係瞓唔到覺㗎，佢瞓嗰半個鐘頭佢就醒㗎啦。甚至食埋安眠藥，佢都係瞓得嗰半個鐘頭佢又醒。
思慧嘅媽媽用活死人3個字嚟到形容女兒嘅現狀。照顧思慧嘅社康護士響佢嘅情況仲未太差嘅時候，透過思慧嘅眨眼，佢嘅聽覺同佢溝通，
即係透過溝通啦，佢表達咗 peaceful 同埋個即係推斷到佢想安樂死。咁我亦都透過重複佢嘅答案啦，問佢係咪想安樂死，佢答我係嘅。
思慧媽媽明白個女係幾咁痛不欲生，但係佢亦都同時感到心力交瘁。11年嚟，佢除咗支撐起一家嘅開支，仲要承擔照顧女兒嘅壓力，精神負荷相當沉重。
我自己睇緊抑鬱症，但係咧，因為最近呢半年有好多嘅嘢都令到我好唔開心，令到我壓力好大。我而家係喺個懸崖邊，邊個擁一擁我都會冧㗎啦。
患上罕見疾病唔單止為患者帶嚟壓力，亦都令成個家庭甚至世世代代嘅人陷入困境。要幫助罕見疾病嘅病人同埋照顧佢哋嘅人徹底擺脫呢種苦難，請立即捐款到香港中文大學，支援佢哋嘅罕見疾病基因研究科研工作。
Yeah, it's very not easy, very heavy, kind of cases. Okay. So yeah, because this is a great debate about, just now these two cases, like one wanted to commit suicide and the other one was thinking, yeah, so much suffering, I see why, so much suffering. Can we just let her go to heaven straight away? There's a lot of debate about this thing, euthanasia, 即係安樂死嚇。Later, the lady come later, she also have this experience of wanting to commit suicide. Later we will talk, last lesson we also talk about that. So what is euthanasia? 即係安樂死係咩意思咧嚇？So this is a Greek word, euthanasia, 即係話 good peaceful death, good death, 即係死得好，即係死得舒服係嘛？like comfortable death, and so you used to call mercy killing. 即係一個好似去憐憫佢嘅，俾佢走得舒服啲啦咁嘅意思。So then in 普通話 is 安樂死嚇，是不是？即係好安樂咁樣死咗啦，係嘛？係可能很安樂的走啦嚇。 Actually the terms, the definition is also can be very ambiguous. 安寧治療啊，安樂死啊，即係maybe in Cantonese, in English, in Mandarin also have different. There are some people who research about that, and but we might not gonna go into details about the term. But well, there is some different types of euthanasia. 有另外嘅唔同嘅類型嘅關於Okay, for example, first of all is if active euthanasia， 即係話係真係 deliberate active. The person is like a physician assisted suicide， 即係話係由醫護人士幫手去做一啲嘢 ，maybe inject some medicine actively to terminate the patient's life， 就係叫做 active euthanasia， 即係主動式嘅安樂死。Okay, so there's also passive euthanasia. In Hong Kong, passive euthanasia is kind of more widely accepted. Later on, I'll explain some more. Passive means 即係唔夠啦。即係或者係甚至乎係唔俾佢，因為 you know in the hospital, maybe if you have elderly grandparents, you also have experienced that some the doctor will ask the patients, right? 如果你嗰個屋企人 if your family member coming into be a very dangerous situation, do we try to resuscitate, that we try to save the person? Do we still keep the life sustained? For example, some people can just using breathing machine, or some people using, some machine like, to sustain the liquid, 即係吊住啲鹽水啊，吊住啲生命嘅支持嘅 machine. Now because now the medical is very advanced, so this passive way is like it means is withdraw， 即係唔再俾呢啲唔夠由得佢自然走啦。This is also very controversy also. Like you can you imagine? Well, in Hong Kong nowadays, there's a directive， 即係有一個係唔係法律真係好係可以好定得好清楚啊。It's not very clear that is the lawful, but the doctors will ask the family, whether you want to save this person if the person is in a dangerous situation or coming to life and death. There's a lot of debate about that actually. Like for example, I have this friend. The mommy already 90-something years old, 90幾歲有個朋友咁媽咪啊。And then already told the doctor already asked all the family 佢有咩問題嘅時候我哋夠唔夠啊咁樣講do we still resuscitate 即係係咪幫佢仲係搶救啊咁嗰啲屋企人都討論咗好耐啦。The family also debate and the daughter decided 唔夠啦，90幾歲啦，90-something years old, do not want to try to resuscitate. But then when it happens, it's very difficult. So nowadays in Hong Kong, like for example, if like, can you imagine if your grandparents living with you, for example, then if the grandparents suddenly, 好辛苦啊, like that, like near death situation, can you imagine? And then we call 999, right? Will you just let your grandparents, even if your grandparents have terminal disease, maybe if they have cancer or something, or very old, if the person something wrong, you would immediately in Hong Kong, the situation, we would immediately dial 999, right? 打999, and then the ambulance come, right? And then the person in the ambulance, they have the responsible to help the person, right? 即係醫學咧就係要幫人嘅 the conduct, for the people in the ambulance and the doctor, we have to help them. Well, for example, if you know your grandparents is already terminal cancer and want to peacefully die at home, maybe he or she already showed, 哎呀，阿孫啊，我咧真係好辛苦啦，喺即係你有咩你唔好救我啦。If the person say that to you, right? But if really suddenly like that, near death situation, will you die 999? Or will you let the person die in the house? Can you think about that? Who would say, I would still, even the person's intention. They say,唔好救我啦，已經講好晒 ，Don't save me. I suffer so much already. Terminal cancer, already sick, very old. Don't save me 啦，阿仔 don't save me 啦。But if something choking or suddenly like that, although the person's intention already say that, do you still call 999? If you still call 999, hands up. Yeah. Or you don't call 999, you let the person die. Some. You brave, huh? Very brave. So you witness the person just go in the house. But think about that. In Hong Kong, it's not so fashionable because Hong Kong is such a small place. If you dial 999, the ambulance come in a few minutes. Now, okay, for example, now if I fall down, if I drop dead now, you call the 999, you can calculate how long the ambulance can arrive. Have you experienced calling the ambulance? Yeah, probably few minutes in Hong Kong. And then have the Baptist hospital just next to us, right? You also have already this kind of experience. But so this is very controversy in Hong Kong. Yeah, then even the person already showed the intention, wow, 唔好救我啦. So just now I said in my friend's case, the mommy already 90 something years old, already say 唔好救我啦，我已經會返天家㗎啦，我都準備好晒, I ready to go to heaven, I believe in God, already told the daughter, told all the relatives, everything like that. But then, because they cannot 24 hours watching the elderly person in the hospital. And then when the lady, having some life and death situation, we didn't understand why, but the doctor and the nurse still try to resuscitate her. 即係都仲要猜翻佢翻嚟啊！明唔明白啊？即係嗰啲叫咩？心肺復甦啊 ！CPR, yeah. So my friend really gone through this experience. Well, she get back her mom. The mom come back, 90 something years old, but the mom suffer for another 2 months in the hospital. Like before was quite good, okay, want to die already, but not as bad. But then after that near-death experience, the hospital helped to bring her back. And then she was in such painful condition. And also 即係撳佢咧 and also bruise everywhere 瘀晒嗰個肺啊，因為猜佢翻嚟嘛 because of the CPR, right? She was half dead, So she had my friend had another 2 months to be with the mommy in the hospital, but the mommy was really suffering. So because it's the irony is because nowadays the medical is very advanced. We can really bring people back to life, And then we should think about that. Is that ethical? Is it right? Or can we let go? But it's a very controversy. It's very hard. If you were the daughter at that moment, one day our parents will die also, right? Our parents, right? You probably will be making that decision to sign that paper. Whether the directive, whether you would say, or maybe your father, your mother tell you, "I 唔好救我啦," or whatever. Then if you are the daughter or the son, you are the one probably responsible. After you're 18, you're responsible to decide 救定唔救, right? But even so, if nowadays the law is even you sign it 係冇約束力嘅, even you sign the directive. 即係佢哋醫生都係救佢，你都告唔到佢。即係佢哋嘅責任，醫生嘅責任 the responsible for the doctor is to save people, right? Okay, it's normal. So it's very 好矛盾啊，係咪啊？咪聽到呢個情況咪好矛盾啊？ Very, very, very hard. But if you are the one who go through this, it's also very hard. 即係好矛盾，真係。Okay, so there's a different, different kind, with the voluntary euthanasia is with the patient's consent. That means, for example, like my friend's mommy already say, 唔好救我啦，即係幫我舒服啲走啦。With that's with the patient's consent, right? But then sometimes we cannot get that consent. sometimes the patient cannot talk. Like just now, 好似思維嗰個 case, she couldn't talk, and she just the social worker just tried to understand what she meant. Partially, they understand. And then another thing is involuntary. So okay, but then if you have no consent from the patient, like for example, I have a friend a few months ago gave birth to a child. 即係生個 BB 出嚟，已經係好身體好差個 BB。in my friend gave birth to this baby, come out already very weak。即係個醫生都話得好難啊 ，very difficult. There may be only months to live the baby. So it was very painful and difficult situation. Well, in Hong Kong nowadays, okay, we can talk a little bit about abortion here. That actually we should have another class to talk about that. It's another topic, but it's also relating to this. That, for example, if the person was a child, a baby, then the person cannot give the consent themselves, right? If the baby is nowadays the law in Hong Kong, if the baby is in the mommy's stomach, less than 即係幾多個星期之內啦，我唔記得咗，好似8個星期定10個星期。Then is the mother can have the decision if you can 即係可以照到個 BB 有 genetic problem or physical problem. Then the mommy have the right to have a termination of the pregnancy, right? So it's lawful. It's very controversial also. 即係好艱難㗎。即係 I have some friends who give birth of the baby, come out okay, come out can survive, for a few years. Maybe some recover. After knowing even though when she was pregnant, she know that have some kind of illness, but some people still give birth to the baby and have miracle. Some people have those kind of case, right? But some people, they decide to terminate, or just now, as I said, my friend gave birth to the baby and then very short time to live. And then you have to have the painful decision whether maybe you have the passive euthanasia, means if the baby cannot survive, then we can take away the life sustaining machine for the baby, but without the consent of the baby, because the baby cannot express whether he or she want to live, right? So it's very controversial, really. So the parents, the patient cannot make a decision. Or some people have very serious mental illnesses or impairment. They cannot make a decision. So it's very hard. But what I wanted to say at the end also, in some country, maybe if we always talk about efficiency, if we always talk about like just now in the video also say we talk about efficiency, we talk about wellness. Of course, nobody like to be sick. Nobody would treasure the experience of suffering. If you one day you might have a baby, then you want the baby to be healthy, right? 最大嘅希望就身體健康 right? Everybody wish that. 係咪啊？飲啤酒好搞笑啊！飲啤酒飲到醉晒，身體健康。You drink wine like some people always say 身體健康 but you drink like a goldfish, but you say 身體健康 right? Everybody wants to be 身體健康 right? Good health. So think about that. It's very difficult. Yeah. So in the current situation in the world, in the 50s, 即係1950幾年開始，西方嘅國家咧 already in the Western world already starting to have debates about whether euthanasia should be legal. 講下啲黑歷史啊 I want to talk a little bit 即係諗起呢樣嘢啊。In the Second World War time， 其實喺德國咧，即係咪有集中營嘅？under Hitler, under Nazi, actually so many people with physical handicap, so-called at that time they call them handicap, impairment were sent to gas rooms， 即係喺歐洲啊，好多嗰啲有啲身體有毛病嗰啲人，俾人哋擺去毒氣室。我呢度冇寫出嚟 ，but you can search about that if you are interested. You know, because of 呢個優生論啊，即係話 that means we hope people come out to be perfect. You know, at that time, what do you mean by Nazi 啊？即係呢啲法西斯主義係咩意思咧？即係話we are better race. You know, we are good race. We are perfect people. We are perfect people. And if there are some people who are less perfect, we want to eliminate them. You know, so it really happened in the history that in the Second World War time, Nazi really killed many people, have problems. Not only race, some race they think is less good race. For example, they kill the Jews, and they kill the people who have a mentally problem. They eliminate them. It really happened. So this make us rethink, what do you mean by health? Is it some people who have less health, do they deserve to die? They are not as good people as we are. They deserve to die. This really, we should think about that. But of course, it's very ironic. It's very controversial. Like for example, for Siwai's mommy, you know, of course, literally, academically, we say, 生命好有意義嘅, you know. But of course, for them and for the family members, also very difficult. So 即係好難辯論啦，係嘛？即係 it's very hard, very hard. So nowadays, in the world, you can see this map. The dark blue is the country that is legal, active voluntary euthanasia 係 legal 嘅。Canada, Belgium 係開始嘅時候 in 2001 already the first country Belgium Netherlands 係 active euthanasia is legal. Now it's legal. So 即係有20幾年嘅歷史啦 20 years more already the history. So for example, in Hong Kong, some people, I saw this video also, this Taiwan rich guy, he wanted to fly to, he has illness and he want to fly to Belgium to have this active euthanasia done. So if somebody he have sickness, if they can fly to Belgium, they can do it. I have seen some video also. Of course, they also have 即係都有好多 complicated procedure you have to fulfill. They will let you have counseling and then you have to fulfill certain you are very sure about it. They will review you. They give you more time. Yeah, many doctors will talk to you. It's not only you give money, then you can do it. It's not only that. There's a big procedure about that too. So, but at least it's legal. New Zealand, you see Spain, some places in Australia, it's legal. You can see the map. And passive euthanasia is legal. That means it's withdrawal of the treatment. It's light blue. I see in Africa, in Hong Kong also is similar, that we can have, you know, it's called passive euthanasia. 即係但係香港人唔係好中意叫佢做安樂死嘅，即係 Hong Kong people do not like, even it's passive euthanasia means 係唔夠啦，即係 withdrawal of the treatment or the life support. But then usually Hong Kong people do not like to talk about, say it's 安樂死。Actually, it's 安寧治療咯，即係死得安寧啲啦。You know, I think the definition in Cantonese in Hong Kong is also very debatable. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but we can read more about it. So, and then for the color, you know, in China, you can see in China, in this different country in the Europe, also active is illegal, passive is not legalized or not yet regulated. Okay, so and then the red, so for Russia is totally illegal. So you can see different countries have different standpoint. So I already talked about the do not resuscitated. In Hong Kong is not, if a doctor active euthanasia, you'll be put to jail. It's illegal in Hong Kong. So it's very controversial, like I said, because the medical ethics for doctor is to save life. Like just now, I already told you about that example of my friend's mommy. So it's very arguable and it's very controversial. And like, can you imagine if the doctor who is saving you also can kill you. Would you trust that doctor? You know, it's fair. It's 即係好個 debate 係好多層次。Like for example, if the physician, if the doctor, you know, if you like, maybe when we are young now, we are well. It's hard for us to imagine. But if you are sick, if you are old, and you're lying in bed in the hospital, and if active euthanasia is legal, would you be scared? No, you won't be scared. Can you imagine? Like it could be abused. Like for example, maybe one day you feel very depressed.我好病，我唔想做人啊, I want to die. You know, for example, if we have terminal cancer, right? We could be very depressed and we lie in the hospital. 可能3期癌症、4期癌症, right? And then we say, I want to die. Then you tell your children, when you're older, you tell your children you want to die. And if that euthanasia is legal, you already expressed you want to die, right? Then the next day, maybe you don't feel so alive, but maybe you change your mind, or you don't feel so alive. Maybe can your son decide for you that maybe let the doctor inject for you? You know, would you be scared? 你會唔會驚無端端俾人打毒針啊? Would you be scared? So it's not that simple. You know, the procedure should be very long and debatable, and there's a procedure to carry out that one. But psychologically, what do you think about that? If your son can decide about your life, and if you can decide about your life this week, how about next week? 會唔會昨天的我打到今天的我呢? You decide yesterday, but maybe can you change your mind next year? Maybe can you recover miraculously next year? It's very hard, very complicated, very complicated, very complicated. Yes. So for doctor, it's supposed to be the healing role, but also the doctor is to help to decrease the pain and suffering for people. So it's very hard to say, right? Okay. So yeah, Hong Kong people live long life. We already talked about that. So okay, nowadays then, if the active euthanasia is illegal, so what else can we do? And so when nowadays we are getting older and older people, more and more elderly people. Like I said just now, my friends, mommy, 90幾歲, 100歲, Then, but we have to, you know, concern about their health. So end of life care is very complicated issue and very important issue in Hong Kong. 即係一個叫做安寧治療啊，中文叫做或者咪就係晚期嘅治療啊，舒緩嘅治療啊。You know, there are many hospitals in Hong Kong in charge of that. Maybe in 沙田 Hospital, 沙田醫院啦、九龍醫院啦。They are more like 即係安寧療養治療係咪？ There's many terms for that. And there's a lot of discussion about that. 舒緩治療 all these kind of things want to decrease the suffering. So apart from euthanasia, there are many things we can do. 點樣可以令到嗰條路走得舒服啲? How to make the path easier? You know, that's very professional issue. Okay? Yeah. So just now I already talked about the debate. You know, it's about the freedom, autonomy of people, many stakeholders, families, very complicated. Okay, the debate, you know, it's hard to make a choice. Some people have chronic depression. It's very hard for us to know whether the person really made a good decision. You know, it's very hard to say. I already gone through that. Okay. Maybe, okay, in term for Chinese people, do Chinese people support euthanasia? That's I also wrote a paper about good death. 好死啊，即係好死啊。We all of us want to have a good death, right? 你哋想點死啊？吓 ？How you want to die? 你想點死？有冇諗過點死啊？哦，原來咁死嘅咁。Have you ever thought about that? How we will all die, right? Will you die one day? 有冇人唔會死嘅？有冇人不死㗎呢度？不死有冇啊？有冇不死㗎？嗰啲動漫好多呢啲角色㗎係嘛 ？There's many this kind of character 不死嘅，或者不停咁 regenerate again，you know 有啲咩動漫呢啲㗎？哇係啊 ，you know they come back, they die and they come back again 啊。我不死，好多啲咩嗰啲 Avengers 咧係嘛？全部都不死㗎 ，they never die。呢度有冇不死嘅先？有冇？有講聲嚟聽下。冇噶嘛，係咪啊？冇 ，so we all would die, right? It's all related to you, right? Have you think about how would you die, or how you like to die? 想點死？有冇諗過？有人想浸死，係嘛？瞓下覺死 ，yeah， 最好 I don't want to know, right? Yeah, how？ 有冇人講下噏下 ？Miss 聰想點死啊？安樂死啊 ？Yeah, quick without suffering， 係想點死嚇 ？Quick 快死係嘛？唔會痛死，舒服死，爽死，係嘛？係嘛？好正啊 ！Yes, yeah, so like, you know, in the debates of this kind of good death, there's a lot of, you know, if you go for the research, 有好多關於點樣叫好死 ，what is good death 嘅 research 㗎，有㗎，即係好多人都研究啲咩嘢都有人研究㗎。You know, in Chinese, for Chinese people, for Christian also, I have wrote a paper about good death. Maybe I can share with you. I wrote this paper. I can upload it. Our department, many teachers of our department also, 佢哋出咗本書啊，大疫當前啊 is talk about death, you know. A lot of them, you know, very good. They have Chinese philosophy, Western philosophy about how to die. Yeah. It's better, the best for Chinese people is the best is to die naturally. 係咪啊 ？For Chinese philosophy, 最好自然死啦，天然死，唔好枉死啦，係嘛？ For Chinese people, 枉死會枉死成㗎嘛，佢係嘛 ？Like, you know, for no reason we die accidentally. If we die accidentally, 我好冤枉啊，死得好冤枉 you know, like we don't want that. We want natural, you know. And then the best is, you know, the best is to what to have to see 即係見晒啲 family. We can see our loved ones. 即係最好就係哇嗰啲有錢佬嗰啲咧，哇一個好舒服嘅床啊 ，big bed, we lie down, and all your loved ones， 你啲老婆啊、仔女啊、friends and family 啊，嗰見晒面嚇 ，all of them visit you around your bed。以前啲皇帝啊，嗰啲 you know in the Europe， you know a lot of the kings they want it， you know they have the priest， 有啲牧師啊圍晒喺度同你唱住聖詩，灑住聖水 ，you know get the oil 啊，譬如祝福啊 ，you know they have a very blessed with the oil, with the singing, and with your wives. You know, the king have many wives, right? Wives and daughters and sons surrounding you. Then slowly, peacefully, you die in your own bed. 係咪最正咁啊 ？Without any pain. 係咪啊？最好喺屋企，自己屋企。And then everything sorted out， 嗰啲遺願啊，全部已經everything you want already fulfilled。冇啲嗰啲中國人就話：哇，好好命啦你，有仔有女啦 ，you know for elderly people is like that. They want 哇 my life is complete. I have daughters and I have son. 我又即係 maybe you know the elderly people you already came across, they also have this kind of idea, right? And wow, my life is complete. I have son, I have daughter, I had a good job before, and all the things I want to do is already done. 環遊咗世界最好啦，係咪啊？你做咗退休環遊咗世界啊 I saw the world, everything is good. Already 想做嘅遺願全部做晒 you know. I wanted to be rich and everything I had already. 即係咩都享受過，係嘛？最好係咁啊，係咪？ It's very good. Yeah. Think about that. And then also another thing is, for Chinese people, death is not only a personal matter. You know, maybe for Westerners, it's all more individualized. You know, but then for Chinese people, death is not only personal, it's a family matter. 你去嗰啲喪禮啦，都一大抽人噶嘛，係咪 ？Many family members will be involved. So it's not only us, you know. And actually for Chinese people, for Taoism, 都係叫眾生安死啊，眾生安死 means we treasure about life, and we hope that our death can be peaceful. And but actually Chinese people, it's a taboo for Chinese people to talk about death. They don't want to talk about it. So that's why it's difficult, you know, for Chinese people to talk about that. Yeah. So some of them I already mentioned about, so I'm not going to go into details. But then, you know, well, for Taoism, for Confucianism, maybe they do not really support about euthanasia because they would prefer natural death. They would think that euthanasia is unnatural. So Chinese people might not really support, you know, unnatural death. They really hope that everything goes with the natural way. But passive euthanasia, they might agree. That means it's just to let go and not to interrupt the natural cycle of life. So passive euthanasia, maybe they support. It's usually like that, Chinese people. Okay? Get it? Okay. For Christian also, for Christian, about euthanasia, like we talked about suicide last week also. So it's also Christian really emphasize on palliative care. 即係安寧治療咧，基督徒係好重視。Because the church really have the very big history of, you know, the sick, to help the sick and the dying. It's a very big emphasis for the church, for China and for Christian people. In the history of the church, they built hospitals, and then the Christian people really treasure about accompanying the dying people, helping the people who are in pain and suffering. So in Hong Kong, you see a lot of the hospitals also started and run by Christian church. And then they have in Hong Kong many organizations and clinics from Christian background. And then they really emphasis on rehab, and they very emphasis on caring. They very emphasis on taking care of the sick people. So in Hong Kong, the 安寧治療 palliative care was started by Christian hospitals in Hong Kong also in the 80s. The 聖母醫院, the first one with palliative care was 聖母醫院 in Lok Fu. Our Lady of 唔知咩醫院嚇，聖母醫院嚇 in Lok Fu. So they have this kind of support to walk with these people in the process of death. And then also Christian people, they like to face death. They accept that we will die. Like 喺聖經啊。Show me, Lord, my life's end and number my days. Let me know how fleeting my life is. 即係話等我知道我嘅生命何其短暫啊，讓我數我嘅壽數啊。That means they emphasize on, you know, accepting the death and facing death, and it's very emphasis on companionship, comfort and support and encouragement in fellowship. Okay. So, and then I also talked about that just now, other social perspectives for euthanasia. Like I said, for some vulnerable people, we really have to pay more attention about for people like just now I already talked about for children, for people with physical impairment or people with mental impairment. That in the world now is very commercialized and capitalized and materialized, that people will think that, oh, we want to be healthy. Like I said, we want to eliminate all the illnesses. 我哋唔想病，即係而家我哋香港個醫療系統咧係想除害咁樣除咗啲病嘅。We don't want people to die. We don't accept ourselves to be unhealthy. We don't want people to be unhealthy. So that's why we have this kind of intention that 即係病咧就係好差啦，唔好啦，又揾唔到食啊，又揾唔到錢啊 you know. So we should rethink about that. Like for example, just now you talked about Stephen Hawking, right? This student talked about Stephen Hawking, right? then maybe 哇 you know 佢好後生病發嘅，其實都 yeah we saw the movie, right? And then he was only doing his PhD when the illness came, right? And then he had a long life after that, and he has the universe in his mind, right? But what if but it was great that he was clever and he could express, and a lot of people helped him with the computer. He could express himself, he could talk, if you see his videos. But not everybody is so fortunate and not so well equipped as he was. But then, you know, what if that he was allowed to have euthanasia when he was young? Maybe he was very depressed also. What if he was killed by the Nazi, or I don't know, you know? Then we would have so much loss of his research, right? Even his body could not walk and he could not move, but his mind was very brilliant. Maybe CY also the same. So the movies was called, there was another movie also called Beautiful Mind, right? The person had mental health problem, but he has beautiful mind. Right? And this guy, Nick,冇聽過呢個 Nick 冇手冇腳嚇。But it's very irony that later on we will have the similar situation that 一個冇手冇腳嘅人 go around the world to encourage the people 有手有腳嘅人。我哋啲有手有腳嘅人要俾嗰啲冇手冇腳嘅人去鼓勵啊，係咪啊？ Is that right? So when I watched the video of this lady later coming，佢得一隻手一隻腳嘅啫。I was so touched and so encouraged. She could cook better than I do. I saw her video. 佢可以單手單腳可以煮飯。應該你哋可以聽下佢嘅故事嚇。Yeah, she cooked better than me. 我有手有腳，我煮唔到，唔識煮飯嚇。Yes. So just make us people. Well, 即係咩叫做 What's the definition of health? What's the definition of being a healthy person?我哋要重新去定義同埋去思考，係咪啊？咩叫健康啊？我哋企喺度有手有腳，係咪好健康啊？ Are you healthy? We have legs and arms. We go to university. We are strong. Does it mean that we are good people? We are healthy people? We are better people? 但係即係唔知點解啊？呢個 Nick 咧，佢周圍全世界 ，he go round the world to encourage people。好多人。幾多萬嘅人去聽佢講嘢喎，去得到佢嘅鼓勵喎，啲人即係好諷刺啊，係嘛 ？It's very irony that, right? So that's so we should rethink about that. Rethink about what's the definition of health. Okay? Yes. And like I said, 聖母醫院啦 I already talked about that. Palliative care in Hong Kong. So it's partially quite developed, 即係都算幾好嘅香港嘅安寧治療。It was developed since the 80s. But then, you know, it's for example in the middle of pandemic， 其實好艱難嘅醫院係嘛？即係爭緊嗰啲competition， they in competition of resources。咁你諗下，有啲細路仔係又可以救到嘅。If you have competition of resources， 即係喺香港都講係效率啦。In the hospital, there competition of resources， 即係會爭嗰啲資源啦。嗰啲後生嘅係咪應該 allocate 多啲 more resources for the young people? Then what about for the older people or for the people have rare illnesses?Then the resources usually to give them is less. I saw some research about that. Yeah. 你諗下 can you imagine 喺 pandemic 嘅時候，嗰個老人病房啊個環境同兒童病房嘅環境係咪好唔同啊？ Usually more older people get sick, right? And then, you know, the competition in the hospital, we cannot be always fair. It's very hard to allocate the resources. 咁呢啲人都就嚟死咯，咁仲要俾咁多資源佢咩？係咪咧？ We have to rethink about that. How to the government, like just now with the policy, you know, we rethink about the policies. We talk about that and how we allocate the resources for this palliative care. 呢啲人都冇得救噶啦，我哋係咪要擺咁多資源俾佢哋啊？You know, it's good to rethink about that. Okay? Yeah, this is a bit history of the development of the palliative care in Hong Kong. It's quite, big history. I'm not going to go into details about that. 其實喺香港咧，安寧治療咧係有好多嘅範疇。They do it in the hospitals, and nowadays喺院舍啦 in Hong Kong, there are many residential care， 即係佢哋都會喺嗰啲安老院嗰度安寧治療啦。And maybe at home in general public, there's so many different sectors to work together, but it's also very hard and still developing. 即係喺今次嗰個疫情咧，係好多挑戰啊，真係。係嘛？啲院舍都 in the home, maybe we cannot visit them in the hospitals， 好多嘢可以反思關於呢個疫情，係嘛？ But I'm not going into details, but let's think about that. Yeah, and then I saw this paper about in UK， 即係始終西方人咧係少少有時呢啲位咧係有啲 advanced 啲嘅 ，just a bit advanced in the Europe. So I saw this paper and say that there are choices for people. We should have choices for people for palliative care. 即係對於 end of life care 咧，我哋應該係有一啲嘅選擇嘅。For example, I want to know how I die, where I die. I want to have a choice. A lot of people are now thinking about that. 有啲台灣嗰啲咧，佢哋比較 in Taiwan。Or maybe in China also because they have space, they are more okay about dying at home, maybe. But in Hong Kong, nobody want to die at home. Actually, why? 知唔知點解啲人唔想喺屋企死啊？唔可以喺屋企死啊？知唔知點解啊？流㗎 yeah. If you yeah you're very very clever. Who said that? 幾個都知道啦，好聰明啊！ In Hong Kong, because the flat is so expensive, and if your parents or if your family member die, 哇，嗰個叫凶宅啊，係咪啊？ The house, the price for the house is like drop 一大半以上啊！即係如果500萬嘅樓會變咗幾多錢咧？我唔知啊。如果凶宅 ，if it's like a resident for already 凶宅係嘛？點講啊？普通話凶宅對。Then, wow, 插水式 yeah, the price for the house will drop, and then your neighbor will hate you, will kill you, will want to kill you. 阻人發達有如殺人父母啊 ，right? If you have a house and somebody die next door, will your flat the price go down? 會唔會㗎？如果你層樓啊，隔離有人死啊？ Maybe for elderly people, natural death is not so bad, right? 即係老啦，咁通常都因為我個姨丈咧 he died at home. He had a illness, but then my auntie do not dare to tell people that he died at home. She just say, he was on the way to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital he died. She said that to everybody. So that the flat will not be the landlord or the flat will not be affected. 係咪啊？即係 so in Hong Kong is usually the people 喂乜都送咗入醫院先啦，唔好講啦。And also illegally, people will need to be declared dead by the doctors. 要嗰啲醫護，就算你 even in the ambulance, they have to save you, like I said, and then you have to send to the hospital to be declared dead. 即係要醫生係 certify 你係死，你先至係死嘅。如果唔係，你係未死嘅。You understand? So it's like, we should rethink about the law, but it's difficult. Yeah. Like I said, I want people who are important to me to support me to involve in my care. Some people they want to be taken care of, but in Hong Kong it's very hard. 揾食嘛，個個都要係嘛？ Everybody need to work. It's very hard to be a carer, to take care of your elderly or your sick family members. Very hard. And, people's rights. These are all people's rights, wish to know, have the spiritual care, have the social need, the physical need, the social need. They want to be fulfilled. They want to involve in the decision of my care. 但有時咧，如果你病咧，but sometimes if you are sick, if you're old, you have no rights. 好可惜，有時你係老，你病，你有咩 say 咧？ Yeah, like nowadays in the hospitals in Hong Kong, very reality is if you're sick, if you're old, 嗰個決定權唔喺你嘅手裏邊。They will ask your family members. 通常都係問屋企人決定。Because the healthy people have more rights than the sick people. Usually. 係咪啊？係咪咁㗎？你有冇試過入院啊？ Have you ever been into hospital? 通常問你阿媽嘅，唔會問你嘅啲嘢。Right? They won't ask you, 你覺得點啊？唔係啊，你問你屋企人，即係問你屋企人，你點醫你啊？咁樣噶嘛，係咪咁啊？ It's usually like that, right? Have you ever anybody have been to the hospital before? You've been hospitalized? 有冇人住過院長啲時間嗰啲幾日啊？一個禮拜 you know? Anybody have been hospitalized before? 冇呢個經驗，未有呢個經驗。通常係入咗院咧，冇乜，即係我自己覺得好似尊嚴會低啲咯。I think maybe I always have bad experience and I'm more negative. I always focus on the negative experience. So they usually ask my family or ask my husband, 問下你先生覺得點啊？咁樣 you know like that. Yeah. So yeah, I want to have my rights, you know, if I'm sick, but it's hard. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, what is the future for this kind of end of life care in Hong Kong? Like already, because Hong Kong is so populated, already the government has given a lot of money already, billions and billions of dollars, you know, to put in the elderly healthcare of, you know, elderly people or people with end of life service, but it's always not enough. Just now we always talk about resources is never enough. And also we have to rethink about these kind of models. You know, we have to rethink about that. You know, we are not expert in this kind of situation, but it's good to know, at least for us students, to get to know the basics, right? To rethink about the basics, about these important end of life models. It's important for all of us, because one day you will go through that, whether for your own family, for your own friends and family, or for your parents or for yourself. So I think it's relevant to all of us. It's important for all of us. Yeah.
好啊，我叫英蘭。
Yeah, you know that, right?
Do you think so? I'm elegant. 我問我要講中文。
你英文都好叻啊！你英文都好叻。
I cannot speak English well.
You can. Very good. 覺得嚇我係咪好？我又轉翻轉頭，我講廣東話，係咪好？好高貴啊
！Only some of you say yes. Never mind. I really think that I'm elegant lady.
哇！
我其實叫英蘭，我係截刺嘅，我冇咗左手左腳嘅。咁我點解可以係依家咁有自信話我係咁高雅咧？高雅唔係話我識得選呢條裙。呢條裙其實好舊噶啦，高雅唔係。
Yeah, my name is Ying Lan. Ying is like the eagle, Ying, and then 蘭花個蘭嚇。But she's confident. She says she's elegant. How can she do that?
係練翻嚟㗎。
She practice.
其實咧，我咧係喺新界圍村成長嘅。
She was born in the New Territories, local village, right?
父母咧係耕種養雞同埋養豬嘅。
They're farmers. They raise pigs and chicken.
我好細個，我10歲嘅時候咧，我就要做好多家務，要煮飯。
Yeah, when I was young, I need to cook and I need to do a lot of housework.
你哋好年輕，可能你哋唔知咩叫柴啦。
You're very young. You don't know what is 柴，中英文係咩？柴，你知道柴嗎？ Anybody, mostly Mandarin speaking student. Any English speaking student here? They didn't come, so only yeah, I know some Mandarin speaking student 有啲佢哋唔聽廣東話唔係好好，都係英文好啲。係柴啊，知道嗎？柴英文是英語是嗎？嚇 ，log right log to burn， 柴，哈 ，yeah。
甚至乎咧，我係用火水嚟煮飯嘅。
They used gas 柴火係 gasoline to when she was young to cook。
我10歲就識得嚟到去煮飯嘅。
Yeah, when I was 10, I know how to cook already.
嗰時好開心㗎。
Yeah, I was happy.
唔覺得辛苦。
I didn't think it's hard work.
咁咧就小學時候好勤力讀書，可以考第一㗎。
Wow, I was primary school. I was first in the class.
但係咧，父母就話啦，家姐都係唔可以讀中學啊，咁出嚟做嘢啦。
Yes, I was the elder sister, so because my parents say I need to come out to work early because I cannot go to school.
我話爸爸唔得啊，我好中意讀書啊。
He told my father, I can't, I want to study.
爸爸媽媽就話，因為有8個兄弟姊妹啊，你出嚟都係好似家姐咁樣做嘢啦。
Yeah, my parents say I have 8 brothers and sisters, so like my sister, I need to work early.
我就同父母講，我可以半工讀㗎。
I told my parents I can part time.
於是爸爸有一個嘅朋友咧係做獸醫㗎。
Oh, so my father had a friend who is a vet.
於是乎我就做獸醫嘅助手。
So I was the assistant for a vet.
雖然話係做助手，其實咧又要做接線生，又要做呢個嘅售貨員。
Well, I was the receptionist, I was the sales, I was everything in the clinic.
但係感恩啊，咁我喺呢個嘅 office 嗰度咧，我就可以咧做完公司各方面嘅嘢，我就讀書啦。
Yeah, I was very thankful in the office after I finished my work, I could study.
咁咧就可以考到第一，有攞到獎學金。
Wow, I came first in the class and I got scholarship.
咁於是乎咧喺村嘅裏邊嗰啲咧 uncle auntie 咧就叫我同佢哋啲仔女咧就補習啦。
Wow, in the village I was the tutor for all these aunties, uncles, children.
老闆好好喎，又俾我咧喺個 office time 嘅時候咧就可以啦，做功課啦，同埋做補習賺外快啦。
Wow, the boss was so good and I could do my homework and I could be a tutor for the people.
6點鐘放工啦，咁咧就因為我想賺多啲外快，唔單止係幫補家庭啦，亦都可以幫到自己。
Yeah, after 6 o'clock, I part time. After finish work, I could help myself and help the family.
嗰時候咧住喺我屋企後邊咧，就我爸爸嘅朋友有個 quarter 啦，咁佢話嗰個 auntie 就唔煮飯啦，退休啦。
There was a neighbor that the auntie was retired and she didn't want to cook.
佢哋咧知道咧，我爸爸啲女啦，好似我咁咧，就10歲已經識得煮飯。咁嗰時候我已經係去到12歲，咁佢覺得我煮得好好噶啦。
Oh, they knew that our sisters was very good at cooking. I was only 12, so I was very good at cooking. They knew about it.
於是乎咧，我喺大概13歲嘅時候咧，我又幫一個做車房嘅 quarter 嗰邊咧，就煮7個人嘅飯。
Wow, so I was in a garage and I was only 12 years old and I cooked for 7, 8 people.
所以咧嗰時我大約13歲啦，我除咗係讀書返中學啦，咁咧我亦都係咧就有3份嘅兼職㗎。
Wow, I was only 13. That's why I had 3 part-time jobs.
凄唔凄涼啊？
Was it a sad story?
一啲都唔凄涼，係好開心㗎。
No, it was. It was very happy for me.
因為咧校長錫我啦，主任錫我啦，老師錫我啦，家人錫我啦，老闆錫我，好多人都好錫我。
Everybody loved me. My headmaster, the teachers, the boss, everybody loved me.
我喺中學嗰段時間啦，我可以咧就辯論攞獎㗎。
Well, in the secondary school, I was prize winner for debate team.
我咧自編自導自演都攞獎㗎。
Wow, I got prizes for writing a drama, for a lot of things. I got awards.
朗誦又攞獎，又代表學校校際區音樂辯論各方面都攞獎嘅。
Public speaking and everything, I got prizes.
其實冇咩咁特別，只不過就係因為自己中意唱歌，中意做話劇，中意辯論，中意好多嘢，又中意返工，所以就係用喜歡感恩就去面對。
Yeah, it wasn't very special for me. Because of my interest, I just used my interest to do what I can do.
但可惜啦，嗰段時間咧就因為係太辛苦啦，咁時間唔多，咁所以我經常夜晚咧就要飲咖啡嚟到去面對我嘅考試。
But it was very hard. Too many things to do, so I need coffee to help me to get through the exams.
因為咧個時間冇多啦，所以咧我為咗趕一場又一場嘅時候咧，咁經常喺雨天我都跑，一跑咧就跌低啦。
Yeah, I was always running because not enough time, too many things to do, and then in the rain, I fall down.
所以咧，我經常咧我就啲腰骨會痛啦，咁我覺得唔緊要，年青人痛少少冇問題。
Yeah, even when I was young, I always had pain at the back and everything, but it was okay for a young person.
我年青嗰段時間，我可以啦，就用半個鐘頭食完3碗飯。
Wow, I could finish 3 bowls of rice in half an hour.
於是乎咧，係咁樣撈湯就係倒落去，所以咧嗰時候個胃唔好啦，個身體都唔好嘅。
Yeah, I used some soup very quickly eat, and then so my stomach was not good.
中學完成咗啦，咁咧就讀唔到大學。
Yeah, I finished my secondary school, but I couldn't go to university.
但我好感恩啊，因為咧我依家62歲啦，喺當年我18歲嗰段時間，其實咧完成中學已經係 幾好噶啦。
Yeah, I'm very thankful. I'm 62 years old now. At my time, it was very good for me to finish secondary school already.
於是乎咧就做地產。
I was a property sales.
咁咧就其實係爸爸啦，同埋我有個男朋友嘅爸爸啦，咁咧就係投資嚇，咁咧就俾我同埋個男同學一齊嚟到去做地產嘅生意㗎。
So my boyfriend's father and my own father invested money for us to be property sales.
原來咧嗱，你哋依家咧18歲拍拖好平常嘛？當年咧，我如果18歲拍拖咧，佢哋覺得哇，你都好特別喎。
Now it's very common for people under 18, around 18, to go out with a boyfriend, but not at that time it was not easy for me.
其實係中學嘅時候咧，已經係 Form 1咧已經有人追嘅，我 reject 嘅。咁咧一路每個 Form 咧都好多人追我嘅，因為咧我又做班長。我依家都咁靚，62歲。我年輕嘅時候真係好靚，人見人愛，車見車載㗎。
Wow, yeah. So I think because I was very pretty and a lot of people went after me since I was in secondary first year when many boys went after me. I'm pretty now still. Yeah.
但係咧，爸爸講到拍拖會影響學業，所以咧我 reject 㗎。
Yeah, Papa say it will affect my studying, so I rejected them.
中學畢業，我真係啦嘗試嚟到談戀愛。
After secondary school, I went for a relationship.
做生意。
Yeah, and go for business.
賺到錢
and earn money.
可惜個男朋友咧到處留情啊。
It was said that my boyfriend go around with other girls.
難過㗎，傷心㗎。
I was very sad.
咁又如何啊？斬情絲。
So how did I manage to I cut him off?
算啦。於是乎就去做幼師。
And then I went for a job as a kindergarten teacher.
我好快咧就做助教，跟住正教，跟住咧吸引，咁跟住咧就原任。
Wow, I was a tutor, and then I was a teacher, and then I become like an officer. 主任係咪咁講？ Officer 啫。Supervisor for the teachers.
咁咧就嗰校長咧，幼稚園校長好驚我咧就坐咗佢校長個位啦。
The headmaster was scared because scared that if I would take her job.
俾好多壓力我。
She gave me a lot of pressure.
咁而事實上，我喺年青嘅時候咧，因為咧係太辛苦啦，咁個胃有事啦，嗰個關節有事啦，其實都身體都唔係咁好㗎。
Yeah, I worked too hard when I was young, so my stomach was bad, my back was bad, it was hard for me.
咁咧就其實到後期我又拍拖啦。
And then I went for another relationship.
咁咧就同個男朋友咧都係一齊嚟到去組織打算咧組織新家庭㗎。
And then the boyfriend, I wanted to form a family with him.
可惜咧嗰段時間啦，我可以行下街我就暈低㗎啦。
That time I easily faint, even.
咁有時行下樓梯咧就會，哎呀我暈啊。
Yeah, sometimes when I climbed the stairs, I fainted.
其實身體唔好啊，血壓低啊。
Yeah, I have low blood pressure. My body was weak.
但我覺得冇問題㗎，仲係年輕啊嘛。
I think it was okay because I was young.
其實咧係怕去 check 身體啊。
I didn't want to check my body.
後期咧就知道話個肝有事添。
Wow, then I found out my liver had problem.
送入醫院啊。
I was hospitalized.
咁咧就好驚。
I was scared.
咁依家咧就覺得乙型肝炎係好平常。
Now for hepatitis B is very common.
36年前啦，如果係有乙型肝炎啦，係好多人咧唔敢同你食飯，唔敢同你飲一齊去街㗎。
Yeah, but for 30 years ago, it was a very horrible illness, and the people were first scared to be infected by you.
本來第二個嘅男朋友諗住係談婚論嫁㗎咯。
The second boyfriend, I really wanted to get married with him.
但係咧，佢又到處留情。
But again, he was going around with other girls.
佢嘅家人咧都驚我係肝有事，會係傳染佢哋，亦都唔係咁想我去佢哋屋企食飯啦。
Then his family also scared about my hepatitis, and then they didn't want me to go to their family for dinner.
咁咧自己咧諗住係再讀呢個嘅幼師嘅課程啦，亦都係覺得好辛苦，因為成日要企啊嘛。
Then I want to study more for the kindergarten degree.
咁咧就跟住覺得自己咧就好多嘢就好多問號感嘆號。
Then I feel a question about life, and I feel a lot of problems.
嗰段時間我覺得小學我可以攞好多獎，中學又攞好多獎，咁點解我而家出嚟做嘢，好似咧曾幾何時賺咗錢㗎？點解依家好似咁多難題咁嘅
？Yeah, I used to be so clever, and I got a lot of awards, but then now life became so difficult.
所以啦，我當時候喺屋企咧病咗3個月，
I was sick for 3 months at home
因為個肝有事，
because of the liver
甚至乎個胃都出現問題，
and my gastric problem.
個腰骨更加嗰啲個痛到瞓唔着
The
㗎。
back pain was very serious until I couldn't sleep.
我傻到咧，唔係秘密嚟㗎啦，我自殺啦。
Yeah, it wasn't a secret. I committed suicide.
嗱，我唔使你哋舉手，因為大學生我經常去啲學校講分享咧，小學生就好中意舉手嘅，中學生都會，小學生更加會，但係大學生咧，佢用啲好特別眼神望望我先 ，elegant lady 咁樣嘅 ，gentleman 咁樣嚟望望我，跟住佢哋唔會答我，所以我唔會問你哋有冇嘗試過自殺，或者有冇 take action 自殺，我唔會問。但我話俾你聽，我真係 take action 唔係淨係諗啊 ，take action 自殺，我係跳地鐵，好恐怖啊！我聽到咁聲。
Yeah. When I often go to different places to share my story, primary school, secondary school, people are very shocked to hear that, and they have given me this kind of look. But for university student, I don't ask you guys because maybe you don't want to put your hand up, but people would see me strangely. But I want to tell you that how I committed suicide is I jumped the MTR.
好愚蠢，
I was stupid.
真係好愚蠢。
I was very stupid.
當時候以為自己身體唔好，工作大壓力，男朋友到處留情，以為自己冇希望㗎啦，好灰啊，覺得自己咧好難過，於是乎又覺得自己個肝唔想影響將來父母，到最後以為為家人好，以為為自己好，做咗呢個咁大嘅傻事。
Because I thought I was sick and didn't want to affect my family, and then also my boyfriend was like this, and I was very depressed, many problems. So I wanted to kill myself, but then I thought that it was a very bad decision.
我仲好記得啦，係當年啦，列車展左手左腳完全截肢，咁我仲醒㗎個人，哇！你諗下係幾難去面對嗰啲嘅困苦。
Yeah, I remember the MTR cut my left arm and left leg, and I was awake and I could feel the pain. It was so difficult.
我同自己講唔緊要，好快就會死㗎啦，好快就會冇事㗎啦。
I told myself I will die soon. I'll die soon. No problem anymore.
因為你哋仲年輕，所以我唔喺度強化當日嘅情景。
Yeah, because you guys still young, and I don't know whether you understand. But so that's why I don't want to reinforce the scenario that time.
2日之後醒咗喎。
After 2 days, I woke up.
哇，好慘啊！原來唔死得啊，咁樣自殺都唔死得。
So sad, I didn't manage to die.
醒咗之後，我覺得更凄涼，我掹喉。
Yeah, when I woke up, I very sad, and I want to take off the tubes to support my life.
乜嘢喉都掹啊
！Everything I pulled off.
姑娘嚟，再 call 醫生，再插喉，又再掹。
Yeah, the nurse came and connect me again, and I pull off again.
我唔想生存。
I didn't want to live.
之前都唔想生存，冇咗半邊點生存啊
Yeah, I didn't want to live already. So many problems already. Now I was so hurt or so broken. How I survive?
因為我覺得係絕望㗎啦。
I felt hopeless.
有冇希望啊
？No hope.
最後我會覺得姑娘醫生話你再係咁樣掹喉，會綁住你隻手。
Yeah, if you pull off again, we will tie you up.
家人嚟探
The family came.
我冇淚
I couldn't cry.
我好後悔將一個大包袱俾家人。
I regretted that the burden went to my family.
但當時候男朋友都嚟探我。
At that time, my boyfriend came.
我覺得你變咗心嚟探我做乜嘢
You already changed. You already have another relationship. Why you still come?
但係啦因為佢係信咗耶穌，佢都經常對繼續嚟探我。
Yeah, and then he became a Christian and he came to visit me.
我喺醫院我喺深切治療部住咗10日。
Yeah, I was in ICU for 10 days.
我咧就出到大房。
And I went to the big hall in the hospital.
好凄涼啊！見到好多人，好
It
驚。
was very hard. I saw many people. I was scared.
媽媽1個月個頭髮白晒啦。
Oh, my mother's hair went white in 1 month.
到最後嘅時候，我覺得喺嗰刻我死都唔死得，我就喺嗰刻我就覺得我暫時要為媽媽而活。
At that time, I couldn't die. So at that moment, I thought maybe I need to live for my mother.
我曾經嗰段時間，我想掹喉， 都唔得。到轉咗大房，我見到一個杯，我想攞個杯嚟再自殺都唔得。
I couldn't manage. Even I wanted to cut myself with a glass. I couldn't do it.
到最後好多醫護人員、我啲朋友、教友，好多唔識我㗎，佢同我祈禱，同我讀聖經。
Yeah, many people who didn't know me, many nurses, the doctors, the people from the church, they didn't know me, but they came to study Bible with me and pray with me.
我自己就冷靜啦，我要唔單止為我媽媽、爸爸、家人而活啦，我更加要喺嗰刻裏邊真係要放低自己嘅舊我，自己嗰個嘅固執。
Yeah, then I thought I need to let go of my own old self, my own stubbornness, my old self. I have to let go.
我重新學習點樣轉身，點樣坐，點樣企。
I learned from scratch again how I turn around, how I stand, how I sit.
留意啦，
Pay attention.
有咩睇啊？
What can you see?
係咪高咗少少啊？
Am I taller?
其實我腳趾公冇咗一半嘅，能夠用呢一個動作其實唔容易啊。
Actually, part of my toe was broken also. It was very hard for me to do this actually.
我相信我咁望落去咧，有少於5個人有好似我咁坐咁直。
And maybe less than 5 of you can sit better than I do.
你知唔知點解我要坐咁直啊？
Why I have to do that?
因為我盤骨冇咗1/3㗎。
Because my pelvis is 1/3 is gone.
如果我坐得唔直嗰段時間，睇唔睇到
If
啊？
I do not sit
靚唔
still,
靚啊？呢個 elegant lady 咁樣坐，
I will lean.
我要保護自己脊骨。
I have to protect my backbone like this.
我能夠坐時，我感恩；
I thankful already I could sit.
我能夠企，我感恩。
If I can stand, I thankful.
於是喺醫院裏邊學習，每日嚟到學習點樣飲、點樣食、點樣坐、點樣企、點樣跳。
So I learned in the hospital how I stand, how I jump, how I sit down.
盤骨冇咗1/3，喺大髀嚟到去一次一次咁樣攞啲皮嚟去補傷口。
Yeah, many operation, they took my skin to try to mend my wound.
係好痛㗎，
Very
嗰種嘅肉體嘅痛
Physical pain
係細過心靈嘅痛。
is not as bad as my heart.
但我同自己講，自己選擇呢條路啊，
But I choose this path. It was me.
自己以為絕望冇希望啊，
I thought I was helpless, hopeless.
自己唔係三思而後行啊，
I didn't think properly before I do it.
以為係對家人好，對自己好，以為係嗰個男朋友係咁樣對我嘅時候，我就絕望。
I thought it was good that I choose to die. I was hopeless but the boyfriend's fault, I thought.
以為咧工作大壓力，好多大壓力，忘卻咗自己將個壓力放咗喺對眼度，將壓力放喺耳度，將壓力放喺個腦嗰度。
I thought it was a lot of pressure, so I just put all the pressure on my eyes, on my brain, on my ears.
好多時候壓力係自己俾自己
But
嘅。
actually the pressure was put on myself by myself.
我成日話壓力講出嚟就自己再聽翻，聽翻仲再講，再聽再記再講，就全部都係壓力啦。
Yeah, and I always talk about the pressure, talk about the thing, and then it become reinforced.
於是乎我就話啦，忘記背後，努力面前，向住標杆直跑。
So I say that I have to forget about the past. I have to run to the aim.
舊事已過，一切變成新嘅
The
啦。
old thing is gone. Everything become new
我
again.
係新造嘅人。
I'm a new person now.
我出院嗰段時間，我翻到圍村，我覺得係一條蟲啊！
After I go back, then after I leave the hospital and I go back to the village, my home, and I thought that I looked like a worm.
我翻到屋企嗰段時間，我唔敢出嚟，我好似匿埋繭咁樣。
Yeah, I hide in my house. It was like a like a worm in a 繭係點講？Like before the butterfly become a butterfly, it was like the wrapped up the worm.
到最後嗰段時間我覺得咁樣一生唔可能。我男朋友依舊嚟探我，我家人陪我翻教會。
Yeah, I thought I couldn't live like this, and then my boyfriend still came to visit me, and I go to church.
好多牧師、好多宣教士、好多朋友話咧，我個男朋友101分啊！
A lot, the pastor say, the missionary say, everybody say, wow, my boyfriend was so good, 101 points.
到最後嘅時候，佢竟然同我求婚喎！
He asked me to marry him.
好戲劇性啊！嗬
Very dramatic.
我話冇可能你會愛我，
That's impossible. You love me.
冇可能你將來唔會 give up 我。
It's impossible. You will give me up in the future.
佢嘅家人都係反對㗎。
Yeah, his family rejected.
但最後我哋都選擇咗我哋結婚。
But at the end, we got married.
醫院知道咁好開心啊，就為我做假手假腳。
Oh, the hospital was very pleased and then helped her to make a false arm and leg.
喺91年復活節嘅時候，我穿着呢個嘅嫁衣嚟到去嫁得出啦。
Yeah, in 1991, I was wearing my wedding gown and I got married.
好似啦，一隻蝴蝶咁飛出嚟啦。
I was like a butterfly fly out.
我唔單止係着紅色嘅嫁衣，仲係咧去埋教堂着埋呢個白色嘅婚紗，好靚。
Yeah, I wore the Chinese traditional red wedding gown and the white wedding gown. I went to church.
座無虛席，企都冇位啊。
So many people come and no space. Everybody stand to watch.
傳媒話佢嚟到採訪。
Oh, and then the reporters came in the media.
嫁咗之後去星馬泰度蜜月。
After that, we went to Malaysia, Singapore for honeymoon.
當時候咧，醫生話咧，你要帶埋封信啊，可能民航處咧，當時候88年嗰時候話，可能未必俾你咁嚴重傷健去坐飛機㗎。當年係咁嘅。
Yeah, the doctor wrote a letter because the airline might not let me fly, so the doctor wrote me a letter.
但感恩嚇，翻嚟之後咧，其實冇請工人㗎。
I was thankful. After I came back, I never had a helper, a maid. I never had.
兩餸一湯白飯任老公裝。
Yeah, I could cook full meal for my husband.
老爺嚟，我仲有燉湯俾佢添喎。
Wow, my father-in-law came and I could have very traditional soup and everything for him.
冇工人㗎。
No helper.
唔係普通食罐頭啊。
The dishes was good. We didn't eat canned food. We eat good food.
每年咧，我自己就油油同埋打地蠟，我覺得自己好似個藝術家咁樣。
Yeah, in the house I take care by myself. Paint and the floor, the wax, everything I did by myself.
老爺嚟咧就買隻雞，佢唔斬喎。
Yeah, and then my father-in-law came and he went to market bought a chicken.
我祈禱耶穌俾我能力就斬雞啦。
Yeah, he didn't cut up the chicken, so I prayed to Jesus that I could cut the chicken.
第二個禮拜佢買隻鴨嚟啊。
Next week that he bought a duck from the market.
照斬
that I could chop it up.
訓練自己。
I practice.
因為人生滿有希望啊。
Yeah, I feel hopeful in the life.
到最後段時間啦，佢經常買啲馬蹄嚟刨啦，買啲蟹嚟煮啦，挑戰我嘅廚藝啦。
He bought crab, he bought water chestnut, and to challenge my cooking.
感恩照樣煮。
I was thankful I could cook.
我好多舊同學啦、舊同事咧、教友啦嚟到，甚至乎咧試過15、16人都係我做嘅。
Many colleagues, many church friends, or many people, 15 people's dinner I could cook.
我祈禱耶穌俾我有能力去包粽。
Yeah, I pray to Jesus, and I could even make dumplings.
時間關係唔能夠講俾大家聽我點樣單手嚟到去包粽啊、整年糕啊各方面。
Yeah, sorry for the time limit. I couldn't tell you the details how I make Chinese pudding and all these dishes.
氹到奶奶，氹到老爺，氹唔到奶奶喎。
I could make my father-in-law happy, but I couldn't make my mother-in-law happy.
因為奶奶覺得我生唔到 BB 啊。
Because my mother-in-law thought I couldn't make a baby.
於是同醫院啲醫護人員講啦，我真係好想有 BB 啊。
I told the doctors I wanted to have a baby.
醫生話其實咧，就算正常人咧，都好多時候咧未必成人之後都會小產啊。
Yeah, so even for normal people, it might not always they can have a baby. It was easy for normal people to have miscarriage.
於是乎，我哋兩夫婦同埋家人咧，又祈禱耶穌俾能力啦。
Yeah, so my husband and I we pray.
可能對你哋嚟講咧冇信仰啊，你覺得成日喺度講耶穌嘅。
Yeah, maybe to you don't have that kind of belief. Maybe you thought, well, why I always talk about Jesus?
我唔係同你哋 hard sell 耶穌，唔係同你講
I'm
咩
not
信
hard
仰。
selling.
我講我自己真實嘅故事。
It's my true story.
最後我真係懷孕啦。
And then I really had a baby.
懷孕嗰時候冇辦法再做咁多家務啦，就請菲傭啦。
I was pregnant. I couldn't do the housework, so I had a helper.
菲傭嚟到之後見到哇咁樣佢驚咯。
She was scared to see like this so hard to work.
當佢處理咗佢自己腎石之後，佢就俾辭職信我啦。
Oh, then she after deal with her own problem and then she left.
我照樣係嚟到懷住人嚟到去煮飯做家務。
I was pregnant. I still do the housework.
當下個女兒成長嗰段時間，我經常帶佢去醫院探訪啦、老人院探訪啊、商業中心做活動。
Yeah, I brought my daughter when she kept growing up, and I went with voluntary work in the hospitals in many places with her.
我成日同佢講咧，跨越困難嘅課題。
I always share with her how to overcome difficulties.
我俾我女睇啦嚇，好多我幫佢織嘅冷衫啦、鞋啦、襪啦，俾佢知道媽咪係當年用假手織俾佢㗎。
Or I use my forearm to knitting all these clothes and shoes and everything for her.
我女喺幼稚園咧，好引以媽咪為榮㗎。佢覺得啲老師企一陣就話攰，我媽咪好叻㗎，單手都企好耐唔攰㗎。
Yeah, my daughter was so proud of me in the kindergarten that I never said I was tired. Her teacher was less strong. Yeah.
單手單腳我就係咁樣育養嗰個女。
Yeah, one arm, one leg, and I could raise my daughter.
同樣我女咧讀書好叻嘅，好似媽咪咁樣咧，係啦嚇攞好多獎嘅。
Yeah, my daughter was very clever, like me, also got a lot of awards.
又係人見人愛㗎。
Yeah, very, very lovely.
但係可惜到佢 teenager 嘅時候。
Yeah, so sad until she was a teenager.
丈夫咧就去祖國返工啦，到處留情。
My husband did it again, work in China and many other girls.
本來咧讀書好叻，亦都攞好多獎嘅女女，佢覺得咧自己嘅爸爸成日都唔返嚟屋企。
Yeah, my daughter was very good in studying, but then she thought, well, how come my father always not come home?
佢開始咧就成日玩電腦，三更半夜都唔瞓啦。
She started to play computers until late.
我試過同佢鬧交，
I fought with her.
佢好唔開心。
She was unhappy.
佢扯開個電腦，我又試過扯開電腦嘅線。
Yeah, we pull off the computer.
其實係唔掂㗎。
We couldn't handle it.
所以咁樣係兩個係對鬧嘅時候係好凄涼。
Yeah, me and my daughter always fight.
到最後嘅時候，丈夫真係唔返嚟啦。
At the end, my husband really didn't come back.
成為單親家庭啦。
I become single mother.
佢怨我啊。
My daughter blamed me.
佢話你係傷殘士啊。
Because you're disabled.
你學咩人結婚啊
？Why you get married？
你結婚就好啦，學咩人生我出嚟受苦啊
？Why you give birth to me and let me suffer？
你知唔知我唔敢喊啊
？I didn't dare to cry。
因為真係我將佢帶嚟呢個世界。
It was true that I brought her to this world。
我對住佢笑㗎。
I smiled to her。
但係好痛啊！
But it was so painful。
係心淌淚。
And my heart was in tears。
我女女啊，乖乖啦，乖乖女。因為我女女嗰時就細節，就中學都好中意我叫佢乖乖女。
Yeah, I said good daughter。
我話
I said
我哋兩個相依為命啊。
Me and you stick together。
我話你唔好再係咁，媽咪好難過。
Please don't be like that anymore. It was very
sad。佢唔
sad。
聽。
She didn't listen。
於是我就覺得我唔可以再沉溺喺呢個傷痛裏邊。
Then I know I cannot stay in this sadness anymore。
我更加要出去出邊做更多嘅義工。
I have to go to do more voluntary work outside。
我用生命影響生命，影響佢。
I use my life to be a good model for her。
四川地震嘅時候，汶川地震嘅時候，我媽媽鼓勵我，同埋好多教友鼓勵我去四川賑災。
Yeah, in the earthquake in Sichuan that time, my mother also encouraged me to do voluntary work in Sichuan。
因為當時候我媽媽信咗耶穌啦。
At that time, my mother also believed in Jesus。
我媽媽知道就話，如果我係唔識喊，我女成日喊。
Yeah, I said if I don't know how to cry, then my daughter always cry。
於是乎，媽媽就話同埋一齊，同埋教會好多人就上去四川睇下人哋啲凄涼嘢、慘嘅嘢。
So my mother also together with the church together, we have to learn what is real sadness。
我媽媽係村婦，佢冇讀過任何書，但係佢嘅 EQ 比好多人仲更加犀利。
Yeah, my mother was only a village woman. She wasn't educated, but her EQ was very high。
我阿媽四川地震會死人㗎，我老公走咗咋，你仲要我帶埋個女上去經歷，你知唔知四川嗰度會死人㗎？
Yeah, I said to my mother, "There's earthquake. It's very dangerous. You know, I already gone through so much. You know, I'm scared."
我媽媽只係咁望住我，對眼紅晒。我媽媽都唔敢對住我喊，佢就話：有耶穌喺度，你驚乜嘢啊？
My mother's eyes was red. She didn't want to cry, but she told me, "Yes, Jesus is there. What are you scared of?"
四川賑災之行就係咁樣去咗。
So we went to Sichuan together。
4點幾地震
4 o'clock it was earthquake。
我哋係瞓喺個地。
We lie on the ground。
好多見到好多截肢嘅，好似我咁樣。
We saw many people like myself。
有啲係冇咗兩隻腳。
2 legs are gone。
有啲冇咗兩隻手。
Some people have missing 2 arms。
我係見到好多。
I saw so many。
截肢㗎。
Many broken arms and legs。
我由地下跳上3樓去。 逐層去紅十字會探佢哋。
I jumped from the ground to 3rd floor with the Red Cross people and I visited all of them.
我坐喺張凳，我展示我大髀，
I showed them my leg.
一塊大皮攞出嚟嗰個傷口俾佢哋睇。
I showed them my wound.
我摸咗鞋摸咗襪，我遞俾佢睇我有腳趾。
I took off my shoes. I showed them my wound.
當時候院長話佢哋唔識喊，就叫我搞喊嗰啲病人。
Oh, the hospital leader asked me to make them cry because they didn't know how to cry.
係另類嘅心理治療，
It was like an alternative healing, alternative therapy.
因為佢哋嘅心已經痛到佢潛咗水底、海底，係唔識得喊。
Because it was so painful for them that they couldn't cry.
包括佢哋父母，
Their parents also.
後期佢哋啲父母同埋啲醫護人員係咁樣攬住我。
And then their parents, all these nurses, they all hugged me.
8日就係咁樣帶埋個女，就係咁樣
We
去。
went through it 8 days with my daughter.
我本來個女都好乖好聽話噶，
At first, my daughter was also obedient.
因為單親令到佢係好失望。
Because of being single family, she was disappointed.
四川之行
After Sichuan,
最尾嗰日，佢攬住媽咪，坐喺媽咪輪椅度錫媽咪。
the last day, she kissed me. My daughter kissed me on
佢
my
餵我食
wheelchair.
嘢啦，
She fed me.
佢知道媽咪好攰，
She know I was tired.
要堅持。
She know I insist. I was tired, but I insist.
由朝到晚就係賑災，
From morning till night, I helped people
去講講座，
and I shared the talks.
去探訪。
I visited.
我諗你哋唔知道乜嘢叫做用啲木板，然之後下邊咧，如果你要數咧，唔知幾多條千條蟲嗰啲嘅大便喺嗰度，嗰啲板你就要喺嗰度去大便，冇人夠膽去，我就夠膽去，我做個榜樣，我跳入去。
Yeah, the toilet was very dirty in Sichuan that time. I had worms and bugs and everything. Nobody dared to go toilet there, and I jumped in there to use the toilet there.
之後我經常帶我女上去國內扶貧助學。
Yeah, since then, I bring my daughter always go to China to help these people in need.
我女就係咁樣成長，
How my daughter grow up.
佢讀完大學啦，出嚟做嘢啦。
She finished university and working now.
佢依家想係考會計師個牌，爭一張 paper。
She's going through accountant's exam, only 1 paper left.
喺呢咁多年裏邊單親，我雖然攞過唔知6個定7個獎，我都唔係好記得啦。
And then in this 3 period of time, I also got a lot of awards.
攞咗代表啲咩咧？
What does it mean?
放低佢，
I let go.
努力面前，
I just focus on now.
再攞又代表啲咩咧？
Even they give me so many awards, what does it mean?
放低佢，
Let go.
再感恩，
So I thankful again.
然之後再去做我應該做嘅
Then
嘢。
I do what I should do.
我喺唔同嘅時間用唔同嘅方法演繹我生命嘅故事，
In different time, I show my life different ways.
以愛共融。
Use love to integrate.
幾年前5個小孩校長嗰個基督徒嘅導演話：嗰個故事係我嘅故事嚟㗎。
For the movie, the 5 kids and the headmaster, that story was my story.
當然唔會揾我做主角，揾咗楊千嬅做主角。
So the main lady was Marian Young.
當時候咧，我係同佢對手戲，
Yeah, I help her with her acting.
持續7年喺香港咧都重播。
In the 7 years in Hong Kong, they replay a lot.
有時候咧喺中學，我會攞啲嗰啲相咧，嗰啲中學生，你好厲害啊！哇，你可以同千嬅影相，哇，你好厲害啊！可以同邊個影相？
Yes, in the secondary school, people they so proud of me that I always with this celebrity, I take picture with them.
我話你就係明星，
I said, you are celebrity.
你就係主角，
You are the main character.
係咪啊？我哋就可以自編自導自演，演好我哋嘅人生，
We can write our own stories.
對嗎？
Is that right?
我今日咧用咗多咗少少嘅時間
Yeah, I
咁
use a bit of time.
多謝你哋嚟到去聽我呢個半邊，我係咪半邊啊？半百，我62歲啦，仲係半親，我單親嘅。我踏入暮年，我如實地面對我踏入暮年62歲，但我感恩，我心境係26歲咋，所以我繼續嘅嚟到去，希望喺嚟緊日子裏邊啦，有日你哋喺街撞到，佢哋叫我做飛鷹嘅，節翅能夠飛，感恩係咪啊？62歲其實身體都有唔同嘅問題，但我放低佢， 我用感恩就走我人生下半場。希望將來喺某個角落見到大家，你就同我打個招呼喺邊度邊。因為我過去咁多年都係㗎，我甚至乎去到祖國，我甚至乎去到澳門都有人話啊，我喺邊度邊度，我喺邊度邊度聽過你個講座。咁呢個就係我嘅感恩。多謝大家。
Yeah, I'm so thankful. Thank you. Yeah, my story I half person, half 100 years now, and she's very positive. Thank you so much, guys.